Did you know that there's the same amount of clothing brands as there are stars in the universe? Well, not really, but it feels like that sometimes. The reason so many people are starting up clothing brands is because it doesn't cost you a lot of money to get started and you can get it up and running very quickly. But what a lot of these people don't understand is that since there's a low barrier to entry, there's an extreme oversaturation and insane competition. Everybody and their mother is starting up a clothing brand. And as somebody who owns 2 clothing brands themselves and has been doing this over 9 years, I want to give you a peek behind the curtain and explain to you why you should not start a clothing brand unless your brand has a few very important things that I'm going to lay out for you in this video. I hope you enjoy. Chapter 1, bad brand ideas. So many clothing brands set themselves up for failure right out of the gate with a bad brand idea. And I'm going to lay out some examples for you of what makes a bad brand idea and what makes a bad brand name. Any clothing brand idea that's got your name in it and you're trying to make it sort of about you, maybe it's got your last name tied into it or your own first name tied into it, it's just ridiculous. You're making it all about you. It's a very egotistical thing and no one else in the world's getting any real value out of it. And I realize that there are a bunch of fast fashion or luxury brands like Ralph Lauren or Gucci that have their name tied into the brand name. But if you're coming out with like a lifestyle brand and you're trying to incorporate your last name in it just to be cool, and you're not actually thinking about your customers and how you can connect with them better through your name and make the absolute best name possible, you're likely setting yourself up for failure. Also, if your brand idea doesn't have a clear audience that you're going after and a really well-defined niche that you're going to be targeting, and it's just sort of floaty and it doesn't make any sense in any particular way, you're really going to struggle. For example, if your brand's called like Urban Threads or Elite Apparel and it's just really broad and doesn't have a target audience, you're going to struggle. Even brands like Supreme that sound really general, like there's no real target audience, have a really specific, well-defined niche. And they started going after specifically the skateboard culture. Brands like Nike didn't start in basketball and skateboarding and snowboarding and all these extreme sports and surfing, and they've branched into everything. The way that Nike started was by going after trail runners and people who do running. They only started out with running shoes, and then they broadened into all of these different niches and they expanded almost like a takeover. With your brand idea, you need to start really small, because when you focus all of your energy on a really particular niche that's underserved, you're going to be able to appeal to that audience better than any general brand can. This is why for my lifestyle brand K-Bud, we specifically were going after the small town Canada and rural Canadian niche. We were targeting them specifically and appealing to them much deeper and more specifically than any big brand in Canada that's just like Canadian lifestyle could appeal to them. We were connecting on the specific sense of humor, the way that we talk, K-Bud, this willingness to express that personality fully and go into the little details of that niche was our reason for outcompeting the bigger brands that just don't go that deep into connecting with that specific audience. Another thing is that ideally your clothing brand doesn't have a pronunciation barrier or any issues pronouncing it. If I could go back in time with K-Bud, I had a lot of issues with people being like K-Bud, K-Bad, I don't understand it. And unless you're a part of my niche who can read that and understand that bud is like K-Bud, like the slang that we say in Canada, it can take some time for people to understand it and to get on board. Luckily with my brand, it kind of feeds into it being funny, and once people get it, they really, really like it. But with your brand, if your brand's got some weird name that's hard to pronounce and it doesn't make sense for your brand, then definitely rethink it and come up with one that's easier to pronounce. Good brand idea has a really clear and unique point of view. You don't want any confusion. You don't want people coming to your brand being like, who the hell is this for? Who does this appeal to? You want the opposite. You want when people come to your website and see your brand for them to be like, this is for me. And I can see that very clearly. There's no confusion around that. And then on top of that, if you can tie in an emotional component to your brand idea where people feel something from your brand. With my brand, they get a ton of laughs out of it. They get that patriotism for Canada. They love it because it feels so Canadian. It has so much personality and it's got that cultural relevance in Canada. That's what's going to really help your brand and take it to another level where you're truly competing in this oversaturated space. Now we're just getting started here, but before I get into chapters 2, 3, and 4, Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at design.com. If you struggle making designs for your brand, this is absolutely perfect for you. Just go to design.com/apparel success. Type in whatever your sick idea is for a design, hit generate. Thousands of designs are going to come up that you can play around and edit as long as you want for free until it's perfect for you. I've used this a ton of times times within my own businesses. If you're interested, head over to design.com/apparel success and you'll get up to 88% off at checkout. Chapter 2, a willingness to not pay yourself for several years. Apparel has really low margins until you're able to scale. And when you start up your brand, you're likely not going to be able to scale for several years as you grow your customer base, as you learn more about your brand and learn more about your audience. And the reason why your margins are going to be so much lower at the beginning is because until you've achieved something known as economies of scale, your dealings with your manufacturer and with your supplier are going to be at a much lower quantity. And when you're at a lower quantity, your prices are gonna go way up. You're gonna have to spend like $10, $12 on making a t-shirt versus when you're way down the line, you can order way higher volume and you can get your costs down to like $5 or $4 or $3 per t-shirt that you're making. And I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here, but so many clothing brand owners get into this space to make fast money. They think that they can make money quickly, and it's just not a good space for that because you need to build your customer base over time, building repeat customers, building up a following on social media, and all this is going to take several years. So you need to have this willingness to not pay yourself for several years, and a lot of clothing brand startups just don't want to do that. Also, production mistakes can be very costly. I did this several times running my own brand where I released a shirt or a hoodie, whatever it was, that just didn't sell as well, and I invested some money into inventory. Also, maybe just ordering the wrong sizes. You just order too many smalls when it was only larges and XLs buying. And even though you were able to sell out of all those Ls and XLs, you've still got this inventory of smalls that you can't sell, and you're just not making much money from it. This is also highly likely to happen if you don't have any experience in this space. So just be prepared to make some of these mistakes and be patient when it comes to making your money from your brand. Chapter 3, do you have a talent? And my editor here should make it, do you have a friggin' talent? Because this is so important. So many clothing brand owners get into this space and they're just not cut out for it. They don't have any natural intuition into how people are feeling and empathizing with what people would really want to buy or want to see in clothing. And you have to have this sort of talent for understanding the psychology of this clothing space. And the reason for it is because the value in clothing is so subtle, it's so nuanced that if you don't have a talent for it, you're gonna likely release shirts that just are in zero calibration with an audience. There's no synchronization with a market, and it's just gonna feel out of touch. The entrepreneurs that are successful in this space have that natural intuition into understanding human psychology and understanding people in general. So if you understand in general what people value and your brain is sort of deeper than the average person, you're likely going to do well in this space. There are entrepreneurs that succeed in this space that aren't creative, but if you're not creative, you're 100% going to have to partner with somebody who is, where you handle the logistical side, you handle the back end side, and your partner takes care of all of the creative and artistic side. Personally, I'm so far on the one side, I can't remember if it's left brain or right brain, but that one side that's just so artistic, expressive, creative, and I'm so not the other side. And this helped me like crazy when it came to social media and marketing and coming out with the right products. But it was catastrophic on the other side, where I was dealing with the inventory management and logistics and shipping and all of that analytical stuff that my partner needed to handle. And now that I've partnered with somebody who's that brain, everything works so much better. Chapter 4, prepare for a brutal challenge. Mike Tyson has that famous quote, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. You are 100% guaranteed going to get punched in the face several times along your clothing brand journey. Literally on a weekly basis, I'm getting knocked out for my clothing brand on my journey here. It's just that challenging and it's just that hard. Marketing is very tough. You need to be at it every single day, standing out from all of the clutter on social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, very competitive and hard to stand out. Not only that, even if your videos go viral, getting them to convert, getting them to turn into sales, and all of that's going to be a massive challenge for you. But that's just really the tip of the iceberg. It's also very difficult designing products that people actually want. That's a whole other challenge here, designing products that people actually want. And when you design them, doing photography that looks good and is presenting that product in the right way on your website, making sure that your website looks absolutely amazing and isn't deterring people or throwing people off, and getting people to convert well through your website. Once you get past this and you start selling, managing inventory, managing sizing, managing the orders and fulfillment and the logistics and the shipping, all of this as you scale and you start to get orders is another huge challenge that you're going to run into. Then there's issues of upfront costs and selling your inventory and the overhead of while you're selling through products products needing more money in order to invest in more inventory so that you can keep this whole thing running. Handling returns and exchanges, dealing with slow growth or self-doubt or just periods of slower times for your brand. I'm saying this because you just need to be aware of it. I'm not saying it because I enjoy those things or because I particularly want it to be this way. I'm saying it to you because if you're getting into this space or thinking about getting into this space, you need to be aware of this so that you can face it head on and attack these challenges and handle them well. And I believe in you. I think that you can do it, but just make sure that you're not getting into this space unaware and just going into it blind like so many brand owners do. They waste a ton of money, they waste a ton of time, and it just was just the wrong decision for a business that they should be getting into. And for those of you who have already dove in and are already in this space, I want to hear from you in the comments below. What's been the hardest part about running and growing your brand so far? I think it would be great for everybody to read those comments and just understand what they're getting themselves into. And if you are brave enough to get into this space and you want to work with me and a community of other brand owners, check out apparelsuccessmastermind.com. There's also a link in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.